I felt so broken, but like I said, it feels more like me. It looks more like when I swung at my best, I think.
Is Max Homa finally good at golf again? And more importantly, should you bet on him this weekend at the PGA Championship? The leaderboard has gotten a little bit different going into the weekend, adjusting bets for round number 3. That's what Golfbet is here for on a Friday night at the PGA Championship. Chris Brees here in Ponte Vedra Beach. Our two guys, Will Gray and Casey Johnston, there in Charlotte. Will, yesterday you told me that the winner was not on the first page of the leaderboard. You told me he was way back. Take out Scottie Scheffler on this list. Who can win this golf tournament? Can anybody win this golf tournament not named Scottie Scheffler?
I like Scottie. If I have a draft pick, I'm going to take Scottie Scheffler. I think that he's in a really good position here, just chipping away at it. It was amazing hearing him in the interview area, post round, where he said, I don't really have my best stuff. It's been a challenging week. And here he is sitting there 5 under, has more than overcome that mud ball double in the opening round. And listen, he is the runaway betting favorite for a reason. I was fading Johnny Vegas last night. I'm still in that position. I think the double bogey on 18 from Vegas changed everything. If he's sitting there with a 4-shot lead heading into the weekend, this is a totally different discussion. But this is very much a jump ball for me, and I think essentially Scottie Scheffler is leading the golf tournament from 5th place right now.
Johnny Vegas has a bunker rake to thank.
Yeah,
be at
really.
the top of that leaderboard right now. Like Will said, that double is going to really catch up to him tomorrow, I think. And when you look at this leaderboard and who do you want to pick, there's a reason there's only one guy that's 3 digits for a reason on those odds. Scottie been a heavy favorite. He's been staying like that. It's hard not to pick against him when he starts lingering like this. And with him saying he doesn't have his best stuff and he finds himself right there, he's got to be feeling pretty good.
So we're going to do our due diligence in the next 15 minutes, go through a lot of these big names, some of these sleepers. Again, you, the viewer there, who you should be adjusting your bets for going into round 3 of this event. So Scottie's plus 210, Will. We know that he says he doesn't have his best stuff. Is there a world that you think we go after tomorrow's play where he is not still on that first page of the board?
Not on the first page of the board? No, that world does not exist. Next question. I mean, he's going to be in the mix. He's doing everything right. This is a course where it seems like he's not really breaking a sweat at times. And listen, it's still Scottie Scheffler, right? This is still the same guy that won everything under the sun last year, that tied the tour scoring record 2 weeks ago. So the game's doing just fine, and he has done everything he needed to do through the first 2 rounds, especially looking at what Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele did a little more wrong while playing at that same marquee group those first 2 days. I think Scottie's just in a great spot. I can envision a world where he doesn't win. Things can get weird. Jimmy Walker won the PGA Championship once. Things can happen, but I don't foresee Scottie putting up a 74 or something like that tomorrow and fading.
Yeah, if you look at Scottie's 2 days so far, he's staying the course. 2 under, 3 under. If you look at the guys above him, of the group above him, some of the scores from today: 7 under, 7 under, 6 under, and those guys are just above Scottie. I don't see those guys maintaining those 7 under scores. I see Scottie maintaining a 2 under, 3 under, creeping into 4 under, 5 under. Who knows how low he can go kind of pace. So when you see Scottie staying the course and some of these big splashes today that have hopped him, I think it's pretty comfortable to say we'll see Scottie lingering and maybe even climbing as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, Scottie is what it is. I mean, that number of plus 210 is not going to get worse unless he's basically out of the tournament. So if you want to pick Scheffler, go for it. If you like the number, do it. There are plenty of other players on this first page of the board who really kind of catch our eye. And yesterday I hesitated, Will, on talking about Matt Fitzpatrick because we wanted to wait and see. Obviously, we know what he can do. We know what he has done. He's been great with the driver, but now it's been 2 days. This guy continues to be in the mix. His odds are really nice, sitting in second place. Number one, are you surprised he's still there? And number two, can he sustain the success is the important question.
Less surprised that he's there. More questions about if he can sustain that success. I mean, the stat sheet is looking really good for Matt Fitzpatrick right now. He's gaining more than 2 shots with his irons over the field. That's as expected, but the putter has been really good, plus 1.3. He's 6th in strokes gained tee to green, and that's a big reason why he's sitting there in that T2 position, 2 shots off, Johnny Vegas. And I do think that Matt Fitzpatrick's going to get a boost from looking at this leaderboard, yes, Scottie Scheffler's there. That's going to have an impact. But the major champions are few and far between. Matt Fitzpatrick is going to be able to lean very hard on that win at Brookline, the 2022 U.S. Open, to say, I know what it takes in the major conditions. I know what it takes to win a major championship, and that's not something that a lot of the guys near him outside of Scottie Scheffler can say heading into the third round.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think the big advantage Fitzpatrick has right now is the mindset and the mentality he can have looking at this leaderboard. The major experience, the major title under his belt. He knows he's got that. He looks at some of these other names that maybe some newer guys on tour, some younger guys. That's got to help build your confidence as you move forward. And you kind of know, if I play my game, I should be in a good spot. So should help the mental side, which, as we know, can be just as crucial as the play when it comes to a major.
You think about it, it probably makes sense. Fitzpatrick was so good a couple of years ago, gaining distance with that driver. He was really obsessed over it. What are we talking about all week? It's gaining strokes and distance with the driver. So he's one of those guys that fits that mold, so to speak, about contending on the weekend. We heard Max Homa talk about his game, feeling in such a better place. He credited the Masters, Will, to being the place where he felt like he got it back. Are we in a world where Max Homa really feels like he can win his first major this weekend?
I just want to live in the world where we can have a happy Max Homa press conference, because that was delightful. Sitting in there with him for 20 minutes, just hearing him opine on a variety of subjects. He's very open about the fact that he felt broken at times. And he would go out and he'd practice, and he'd have a hard time explaining to his wife why he's playing well and hitting the ball well, and then turning around and shooting 76 and 77. So it's going to be a long road back for Max. This is probably the biggest highlight he's had in, I would say, a year. More even than any singular round that he had at Augusta National en route to that T12 finish last month. But listen, he was in that cauldron last year at Augusta National, so he does have a little bit of that taste of the majors. It was funny. He got a question during his presser about, well, why are you so good at showing up at majors? And he said, I spent 3 years getting questions about why I can't top 10 at majors, why I suck at majors. And now all of a sudden I'm the majors guy and I can only play well at majors. So it's a little bit of a role reversal for him. I still have questions myself about the sustainability. It's something where, it's almost Jordan Spieth-esque of, you see the flashes for 9 holes or 18 holes, and he did everything right today. He's hitting a drive to a foot. He's chipping in. This was definitely a positive luck round for him, and he acknowledged it. But I don't know that it's really, Casey, something that he can sustain consistently over these next 2 days, even though it's on a course where he has won before back in 2019.
Yeah, it's awesome, like you said, to see him playing this well, but he's back with a vengeance. He just shot his best round in a major of his career by 3 shots. I don't want to call it an outlier, but it has some outlier tendencies. It's great to see him back battling. And yeah, I couldn't agree more with the presser. The way he spoke about being broken, and he mentioned, I wouldn't recommend changing your coach, your clubs, your swing. But, the comfortability with being able to talk about that, I think, comes with feeling like you're through it. I don't think a broken person wants to talk about that they're broken. When you're talking about I felt broken, it's starting to feel like he thinks I'm not anymore. And like I said, mentality in the major is just as big as how you're swinging the club. So agreed. Not sure he's going to keep this up with another 64. But if you see him keep creeping sub 70s and linger up there, mentally he feels like he's back. So those bad thoughts might not be creeping in as much, whether it's a quick mistake he's got to overcome. So yeah, couldn't agree more. Good for the sport to see him back in the mix. Maybe not quite the 64 we see going forward, but really excited to see what he does as we head into the weekend.
We talk
Casey
about
and I are both flexing our non-existent psychology degrees here. We're taking it deep tonight. This is good.
Yeah.
We also talk about Homa as if he's won a major before and he hasn't. That's just the way, the star power and status that he's had the last couple of years. There's a handful of players who have not won a major before who have a chance this weekend. You mentioned Jimmy Walker. He's one of a slew of players, Will, who were one and done, winning a major at the PGA Championship. I could see 4 players on this list getting their first major, being the PGA Championship, who wouldn't be a surprise. I talked about Robert McIntyre yesterday. I'm slightly encouraged that he shot under par today. I know you said you wanted to see more. Was that enough for you to see, or do you need to see more tomorrow?
I'm intrigued. I'm not ready to go there yet, but I think that I've seen enough to say, yes, Robert McIntyre is now in position, and he fits the mold of someone who's won, some top tier caliber events. A couple last year, the Canadian Open, the Scottish Open. Has played well in Ryder Cups. He's felt that pressure, and he has played well in majors as well, including a T8 last year at Valhalla. So there are some pieces there where I think, okay, he could handle the pressure, but that's going to be such a huge factor over these next 2 days of how you're able to handle the dynamics, because they are going to change. The course is firming up. It's not going to get firm, as Scottie Scheffler said, but the greens certainly are. The rough's not going anywhere. There's going to be doubles left and right. There's going to be a couple of guys that shot 64 like Siwoo and Max did today. So there is a little bit of a handicap element of between the ears, and can you handle the pressure? Some of these guys, I have more questions than others. Robert McIntyre, I will give you credit, Chris. He answered the bell today. There's 2 more to go.
It's not like I picked him, but honestly here, who do you guys like on this board? I mean, I think all these guys in 7th, Casey, they're fascinating to me because they could shoot 66 tomorrow. They could fall off the earth tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I love Denny in 7th. Denny showed some good performances, but big problem with Denny, he doesn't really have that closing gene. So I wouldn't really take him to win, but I like him staying in the mix. Looking at this leaderboard, I'm going to climb a little more back up into 2nd place. Matthew Pavon, one that's a guy that's kind of proven he likes a big stage. I believe it's 2 of his top 5 best performances since he joined the tour have been at majors. He's got a win at Torrey Pines, so he likes that bigger stage. Again, I don't know if that's going to translate to a win when, it starts getting real stressful come the weekend here at Quail Hollow. But that experience, I kind of like that as he moves forward. A guy that's kind of flying under the radar. You see him there at that number at 3,300, pretty significantly lower than the guys around him. I think it could be interesting to watch him play if he continues to stay a bit consistent, not fall off too much tomorrow, stay the course. But yeah, those performances in majors that he's had, stepping up on those bigger stages when the eyes are on him, I think that's something that could translate as we move forward.
I think of the group here on this list, the name that pops out to me that I'm most intrigued by is Siwoo. It helps when you're hooping it from 252 yards, but we've seen him win the Players before. We've seen him kind of just go and he could just figure it out in big bursts. He's not the most consistent player in the world, but he has a very high ceiling. But Chris, I'm going to go further down the board. We're going into triple digits. Let's talk about Adam Scott.
Wow.
We just saw Justin Rose almost win the Masters last month. They are like a month apart. Both of them have one major title. Adam Scott is doing just fine tee to green. He is 13th tee to green, is struggling, losing strokes with the putter, as Adam Scott is wont to do, but sitting there at 2 under, that's my barometer. You got to be within 6 shots of the lead in order to have a chance to win this thing. Go back to 1990, all 35 PGA Championship winners have been inside 6 shots of the lead after 36 holes. So if you're 1 under or less, thanks for playing, grab your check, whatever. But the winner is at least 2 under right now, and I do think that someone from that group is going to do what Max Homa and Siwoo Kim did and go and post a 64 or a 65 and then watch it get a little bit harder in the afternoon, and now all of a sudden you're T6 or T7 heading into the final round. You don't have to win it all on Sunday, but I think Adam Scott's going to make a big step towards putting himself in contention.
Okay.
120 to 1.
I was just going to say 120 to 1. You say the list is 2 under par. We have 35 players at 2 under par or better. Major champions like Jon Rahm. We have Victor Hovland. We have a lot of players in this thing. We haven't even talked about Bryson DeChambeau yet. Talking about the big stars now. Hovland stayed in it, Will. The guy had everything go against him today. His short game was all over the place. He chipped in. He double bogeyed from in front of the green. What is your thought on a 50 to 1 price for a guy who's within your range of 6 shots of the lead?
He's hanging on by a thread. 33rd right now in tee to green. He's positive on the greens. Like if you had told me that Victor Hovland was going to be picking up strokes with his short game, I would have just signed up even faster. I don't love the fact that I was advocating for him at 25 to 1 last night. Now he's at 50 to 1. We're moving in the wrong direction. We're also not going to talk about Xander, who is not going to win despite looking at an interesting spot last night. You mentioned, Rahm and Bryson are 2 major champions. I think there's only 6 guys out of those 35 that have won a major before. So again, if we're in a world where Scottie Scheffler doesn't win this tournament, we're probably crowning a first-time major champion. So that's an interesting dynamic to keep in mind. I still think, you run this out, simulate it 10,000 times, Scottie's going to win a bunch of them. There's no reason to doubt him or his leaderboard position. But if he doesn't, there's a pretty good chance things are going to get weird, Casey.
Yeah, Bryson's one to watch out for when I look at these three names. He had a couple of short missed putts, including at the last hole. I think bogeyed the last with a real short miss. I could tell he's just really frustrated with himself with. So he's another one that he might look at that leaderboard and say, okay, I'm still right here. He can go get it. So got to be careful for him lingering from the back. He starts making some of those putts. He could have easily been in that 4-under group, and it might be a totally different conversation. Just that one shot can make a big difference as we head into the weekend. So definitely got to watch out for Bryson. I'm still not sold on Rahm. Just poise and composure out there doesn't seem like it's there. Surprised to see him get himself to 2 under. No, he has that the major under his belt, but I don't know if that's the same Rahm we're getting out here this week. Bryson's still there lingering. It makes me a little nervous coming up that leaderboard. Still not in on Hovland. Still just listen to the Alien podcast for him.
Bryson, I will say, Bryson's advantage off the tee was not overstated. He's second in strokes gained off the tee through 36 holes. He is bombing it everywhere. It is a material advantage on this golf course. Only our guy Marco Penge is ahead of him in strokes gained off the tee. But a curveball that I will throw at you, Chris, in terms of looking at that bomber's advantage that hasn't quite translated like we thought it would ahead of the tournament. Michael Thorbjornsen is third in strokes gained off the tee, just behind Bryson, a former top-ranked amateur coming up through PGA Tour U and accelerated. Like, this is a guy who was a runner-up at Corrales, T4 at the Zurich, so he's had a couple of tastes of PGA Tour contention, hasn't won before. It'd be a big step to win a tournament of this stature, but maybe someone that is going to stick around more than the name would suggest. So maybe you look at a top 5 or a top 10 in the live markets. Thor might not be going anywhere anytime soon.
He's tied with
and
these
on
guys.
Thor too,
Go ahead.
Sorry, Chris. I was just going to say on Thor too. We're noticing when you're out on the grounds out here, the crowds get pretty spread out. I mean, with some of these super groups, you're getting really built up crowds at some of these bigger groups. Thor might be out there not really feeling the major stage pressure because it may not quite feel like that to him yet. So it could be an easier ride for him with a few less crowds. We saw Michael Block say he didn't play that great today because he didn't have a big crowd. I think Thor might be the opposite. He might be playing a little better because he doesn't have this big crowd following around. It might catch up to him as the weekend goes on. I mean, we weren't even seeing much of him on the broadcast. He's kind of flying under the radar at that number. So it will be interesting to see if the atmosphere, if the major stage, if that kind of aura of it catches up to him. But right now, I think it's almost kind of going over his head, and he's just playing some good golf.
The proof of why he's flying under the radar, he is tied with these guys at 7th place at 4 under par. He is 60-1 to win, and we have heard very little about him. You've got people like Alex Smalley, who has not been anywhere near a leaderboard in 2 months. Same with JT Poston for even longer. Their odds are shorter than Michael Thorbjornsen. Last comment on Bryson here. Tell me if you agree, Will. If he's sitting at plus 900 and he's 5 shots off the lead, his odds are not going to be anywhere near you want them to be unless he's getting better on the leaderboard. So if you're going to bet him now. I don't see any point in betting Bryson DeChambeau if he falls off a little bit and gets a little bit of a juicier odd tomorrow.
No, I mean, we're running out of time at this point.
Yeah.
If he wobbles for the first 9 holes tomorrow, then there's only so much time that he can make up that ground, knowing he's already starting 5 shots back. It does feel like, Bryson and Scottie are being priced in lockstep, where odds makers know they don't need to be in the lead or even close to the lead to really start chopping away at that number, because they were 2 of the top 3, in handle and tickets, along with Rory McIlroy before the tournament started. So the books are already handling a lot of action on Bryson. They don't need to create a juicier price to entice more, because he's probably one that they're going to have a little bit of a split decision if he makes a run for the Wanamaker.
Before we go, did I miss anything? Anybody else you want to talk about? Course conditions. Felt like Scottie Scheffler nailed it. The fairways are staying soft, and the greens this afternoon seem really, really firm.
Yeah, the greens are firming up. We're seeing the big bounces. I know Casey talked about that last night in the show. It's continuing to get that way with the sub-air. I mean, they're going to be not quite rock hard, but they're going to be pretty firm over these last couple of rounds. My thoughts are on the guys that Scottie was playing with, Rory and Xander. I mean, Xander had to fight like heck to keep that cut streak alive. Hasn't missed a cut since the 2022 Masters. Made it in by the skin of his teeth. Rory McIlroy still out of sorts. I know there was discussion on the broadcast about the driver, and he's still on a course where he's won 4 times before. Things are not quite clicking, Casey, as you might have expected.
Yeah, real sketchy finish there for Rory. Looked like he found the water for a minute and it was going to end up missing the cut. Ended up just sitting right on the edge there. So yeah, I mean, the course is playing interesting. It's kind of still that flip we've seen where some under the radar guys are playing well and some of these big stars aren't playing great. Of course, Water has found its level with Scottie. So who knows where we're at tomorrow when we look at this leaderboard? It might be an entirely new conversation. Similar to last night, a lot of new names up there, a lot of new guys we're considering for who could be in the mix. So hard to really pinpoint one right now, and we'll see what happens as we head into Saturday.
Good stuff on site, guys, and good luck to everybody on their bets this weekend.